lost in the fray of the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, while Pippin contended with the madness of Denethor, steward of Minas Tirith. In Middle-earth, such moments are not reserved only for those of small stature. Even lords may be tested, as it was among humans in the Third Age. The people of Gondor and Rohan united in one last attempt to defeat the Dark Lord Sauron. And while some came through their trials triumphant, with great power and royalty revealed in them, for there are few left in Middle-earth like Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Others were taken by madness, and in the crucial moment failed. Though even then they may have died well, achieving some good thing. These champions were assisted by representatives from across Middle-earth. Dwarves, elves, motivated by memory of the last alliance or loyalty to the Lord of the White Tree. And even wizards, subtle and quick to anger, who were troubled about the future of Middle-earth. But the free peoples of Middle-earth would not have united as they did if they had not been drawn together to confront the Dark Lord and his armies.
Sauron attempts to set the plot of The Lord of the Rings in motion by crafting the One Ring. Before the plot is actually begun, where Isildur cuts it from Sauron's hand and takes it for his own. He is depicted here, still sporting his missing fingers. Sauron also faces his own trial. The Dark Lord was not alone in his quest to dominate all of Middle-earth. He was joined by dark creatures. But his most terrible servants by far were the Nazgul. Mortal men who fell under the dominion of the One Ring and became shadows under Sauron's Great Shadow. And of course, the King of Angmar long ago, sorcerer, ringwraith, Lord of Nazgul, a spear of terror in the hand of Sauron, the Witch King himself. As the War of the Ring unfolds between these two implacable factions, great commanders arise on both sides.
The commanders in this set each come packaged with a deck geared to their particular abilities. First up, we have Eowyn, Shield Maiden, strong and stern as steel, the daughter of kings. With her Riders of Rohan deck, Eowyn strikes quickly and powerfully at the enemy. This deck combines the heroes of Gondor and Rohan into a force capable of overpowering any opponent with sheer force of numbers. Fourth, Eorlingas. Tolkien says of the hobbits that growing food and eating it occupied most of their time. This is probably unfair to say of Frodo, who after all adventured out into the wide world and devoted at least some of his time to destroying the One Ring. Still, it's fitting that the deck he leads is themed around food and fellowship. This deck employs the partner mechanic, using two commanders at once, because, as Gandalf says, only a small part is played in great deeds by any single hero. And so, just as in the books, Frodo and Sam work together to achieve great things. Sam provides food tokens to nourish Frodo, while Frodo's time as ring-bearer grants him the advantage. Galadriel, Elven Queen, leads our Elven Council deck using a combination of elves and wizards. It was she who first summoned the White Council that drove Sauron out of Mirkwood, and this deck has that same power and more. Commander format relies on diplomacy, which Galadriel, Elven Queen, takes advantage of. Like any good council, this deck relies on the votes of other players. Luckily, whichever way the vote goes, Galadriel benefits. Sauron, Lord of the Rings, leads his hosts of Mordor deck by bringing his creatures back from the graveyard. Sauron was, after all, once known as the Necromancer. The hosts of Mordor always claw their way back from defeat. The Dark Lord himself was diminished but not destroyed by the loss of the One Ring, and his armies will rise again.
When bringing Middle-earth into Magic the Gathering, the goal was always to make the gameplay fun and evocative of the story of The Lord of the Rings. When it came time to allow people to play as hobbits, it seemed only right that they would incorporate food in some way. Samwise Gamgee, whose chief treasure is his cooking gear, can create food tokens. Use them to restore life or have Sam's unique talent bring a bit of history back to the here and now. But beware. Hobbits aren't the only creatures in Middle-earth with a love of food. The advantage of Mordor is in its sheer number of servants. A mass is a returning mechanic, but with a Middle-earth twist. The mechanic now allows you to summon and strengthen an army of fearsome orcs. But of course, the most important piece of lore in The Lord of the Rings is the One Ring. This set introduces a completely new mechanic revolving around the temptations of the One Ring. Numerous cards across all types will say the ring tempts you. The first time each game you feel the call of the ring, you will receive an emblem called the Ring. When the ring tempts you, you select a creature under your control to become ring bearer. For example, if Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, is your only creature on the field, he would become your ring bearer. You can never have more than one ring bearer because, after all, only one hand at a time can wield the One Ring. Each time the ring tempts you, you may select a new ring bearer if you wish. Also, each time you're tempted, the ring gains its next ability. This continues each time the ring tempts you until the ring has all 4 abilities. The ring gains these abilities even if you have no creatures, just as it persevered in the dark pools of the Gladden Fields, even as it passed out of knowledge and legend. But be cautious. Gandalf warns those who would try to take the One Ring. Its strength is too great for anyone to wield at will, save only those who have already a great power of their own. But for them, it holds an even deadlier peril. Do you have the power to master the One? Or will it master you?
Lord of the Rings is the quintessential fantasy story. It's what we think about when we think of fantasy. It has this mythic dimension to it.
Magic really was inspired in so many ways by The Lord of the Rings. It's the original fantasy, it's the classic.
And it seems a very natural crossover to view The Lord of the Rings and those stories and those characters through this lens. And we knew that the property was very safe with Wizards of the Coast.
There were so many things that we imagine when we read the stories that we want to bring to life.
It was an exciting challenge and an exciting opportunity to bring these two properties together. What does it mean to bring the ring, the One Ring, into the Magic universe? We went about designing the One Ring as a mythic rare in the set. You're going to open that up in draft boosters and set boosters and collector boosters. What are other ways to capture that connection between Magic and Middle-earth?
Tolkien's words were so important to us. We wanted to carry his spirit in everything we were doing. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
One ring to rule them all.
One ring to find them.
One ring to bring them all.
And in the darkness bind them.
We thought, what if we're so faithful we have one of the One Ring?
Magic came to us with this one of one, the One Ring card. In my head, I was just thinking, yes, yeah, that makes sense, that tracks, that's obviously, yes.
We took the One Ring and we created a serialized one-of-one version. This is the only copy of the one-of-one ring that's ever going to exist. One person is going to open it up out of an English collector booster. While it's not mechanically unique, we wanted to make it aesthetically unique. This is the only place you're going to see this version of the art. It has a foiled treatment that highlights the inscription. We want the experience when that player opens the pack to be worth all of the effort and all of the love that we've poured into it, and it's for a single card.
It makes it all as mysterious and desirable as the One Ring itself.
If you ever see it, you'll know. Is that it? Is this true? Is it there? Is this real?
I know that a lot of people are going to be very excited.
It's like you're making someone become Sauron or Frodo. You are a ring bearer.
Its fate is unknown. The ring will be found when it wants to be found. We wanted to go and find more connection to the story, more ways to hit on these rings that were created.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky.
7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone.
9 for mortal men doomed to die.
In Lord of the Rings, this is a powerful artifact that someone can wield. And in the world of magic, Sol Ring was the best place for those rings of power to live.
Sol Ring as a magic card, it's the most played card in Commander. It's incredibly powerful. It really offered a fun way to do a collectible version of Sol Rings in a non-foil version. And then also in a serialized double rainbow. I know they're going to be beloved.
I'm excited about seeing how fans react to the vision that we brought. Everyone has just poured a lot of passion into this project.
It was just absolutely palpable how much they appreciated these stories. And so we're all excited about the One Ring card. But there's also so much in store that fans are going to be excited for. And I'm excited for them to see it.
Emboldened in the pages of this story are moments that remain suspended in time. There are colourful moments filled with laughter and song and a glittering youthful bliss. Memories of a birthday party glow beneath the light of a dazzling display of fireworks, a spectacle of magic orchestrated by a very old friend. Other moments, far more grim, lend burden to memory. Recalling them brings forth an acrid taste of ash and a burning wind against the cheek. Here, amidst the volcanic fires of the mountain, seconds became an eternity as friendship bent to the will of dark power. Here, a wayward horror, corrupted by temptation, fell to his doom. Between these moments of levity and anguish live moments of myth, when the fate of the world was decided in the hellish cauldron of battle. In the fields of Pelennor, Sauron's wicked army collided with the free peoples of Middle-earth. The capital city of Minas Tirith, bathed in the light of the sun, fell under siege by legions of orcs and Uruk-hai. Screeching bats from the dark forest of Mirkwood littered the skies, and in their wake drifted a pair of monsters maligned and grotesque. Like featherless vultures, they widened their translucent wings to reveal their haunting husks. Leading the aerial assault from atop one of these fell beasts was the Witch King of Angmar. His wretched armor encased a hollow body, and his helmet housed 2 glaring red eyes. Behind his flowing cape crept the shadow of the enemy emerging from the crackling lightning surrounding Barad-dûr. Rows of jagged peaks emerged before the ominous Dark Tower, a monolith of pure evil. These 2 monuments mark the edges of this battlefield and the corners of this 18-panel war painting. The artist Tyler Jacobson used a false perspective to capture the entire setting and concepted the action to read from right to left. This mirrors the direction of attack from Osgiliath in the east upon Gondor to its west. Occupying the landscape along the middle row appear the first named characters involved in the skirmish. The Oliphants of the Haradrim trample upon the rushing riders of Rohan. The resounding horn of the horsemen echoes across the lands, evoking hope in the valiant heroes and fear in those clashing against them. The cavalry is led by Eomer, the 3rd Marshal of the Mark. Across from him stands his sister, Eowyn, who betrayed her king's orders to stay home and wait and chose instead to fight. Fearless, she glares upon Gothmog, the lieutenant of Minas Morgul, who arrives at the Pelennor field surrounded by his own makeshift battalion. The siblings will crash upon his battered army, yet Eowyn's true target will be the Nazgul who glides above them. She will be the only one to defy the Lord of the Ringwraiths. The posing of these 4 characters implies that their fates on this battlefield are overlapping and intertwining. Behind Eowyn wave the cyan banners of the Swan Knights. These seafaring people are led by Prince Imrahil the Fair. His aid will prove invaluable, time and again in the defense of the besieged city. Battling at the forefront of the chaos are 4 members of the Fellowship. The hobbit Meriadoc Brandybuck bravely wields his barrow blade against an onslaught of orcs. Frequently underestimated, Merry will prove his worth, fighting in tandem with Éowyn against the Witch King. To his right, the stalwart Gimli, son of Glóin, readies his axe against the swarm. His vengeful spirit burns with the memory of the dwarves lost in the mines of Moria, a tragedy he won't soon forget. By his side is Legolas, the master archer, who draws the long bow of the Galadrim. His arrows never stray from their mark, especially those flying in defense of an unlikely friend. Finally, at the very front and center of the composition, there stands Aragorn, the destined king of Gondor. In his hand burns Andúril, the flame of the west, the light of which anchors the entire painting and offers a valorous symbol of hope to those fighting alongside him. Aragorn pushes back against a wave of horrific and merciless orcs, their gritty teeth angular and imposing like the blades they brandish. Opposing the horde are the knights of Dol Amroth, dressed in regal armor and endowed with sharpened spears. They arrive from the southern reaches of Gondor to defend its stronghold. On their own, these two cards portray, very simply, the two sides involved in the War of the Ring. This diptych can serve as a broad summation of the entire conflict. In context, the two cards above them gently balance the action by inverting the warring sides. And zooming out further, these two horizontal rows are a compositional mirror of one another. A minor conflict between two masses of armies on the left offsets the spotlight on the group of four major characters to its right. The grandiosity and scale of this painting reflects the fateful event that was the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. The climax of this epic tale stays suspended in time, here in the enclosed plains between two fortresses where total darkness collided with the defenders of the light.
For an occasion like this, we have gathered our own fellowship to give us their thoughts on the union of Magic the Gathering and the Lord of the Rings.
Have I opened a magic pack before? Is that an actual question you're asking me right now?
This is my first ever booster pack.
The Lord of the Rings and the greater Tolkien verse holds a very special place in my heart.
I was at a bookstore with my father. He ended up getting me a copy of the trilogy.
I do have a Lord of the Rings tattoo. Yeah, this is Elvish. It says, tell them stories.
Nothing like the smell of magic cards.
Oh, there we go. Got a Bombadil. Hey doll, merry doll, ring-a-dong-de-lo.
Oh, love that artwork.
Gimli on a Magic the Gathering card.
No living man am I! She's not a man, she's a woman! I've seen this a million times in my head reading the book.
Yeah, I'm just blown away by the artwork.
The flavor text at the bottom feels like it was ripped directly from the book.
It is so perfect to see the two united.
Characters that I love and that I grew up with.
I get to play Lord of the Rings on my magic cards.
It feels like a match made in nerd heaven.
We also travel to Middle-earth to talk to one very special fan.
All right, let's talk about this set. Let's have a look. It's tough to be a hobbit with a ring, man. Gimli, Aragorn, Arwen, Shelob, Rosie Cotton, Galadriel. Seeing all these characters, they really mean something to me. Oh, it's Pippin! And Mary! Wait, this is awesome! Two very important friends. Anytime you get to see these characters realized in a new and fresh way is always really exciting. The One Ring. What is it that allows Frodo to withstand the power of the ring? He is just a hobbit that says, I'll take the ring. They were just pure of heart, which I think makes Frodo more capable and less susceptible. Yeah.
Actually, hang on, we need the card back.
Huh? Well, I gave it back. Oh. Oh, here it is, in my pocket. Isn't that odd now? Okay. Indestructible. Well, is it?
As a wise wizard once said, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. This summer, join the Fellowship. In-store pre-release June 16th to 22nd. Play on Arena June 20th. Available everywhere, June 23rd. And if you wish to attend a party of special magnificence, there will be in-person events held at local game stores on July 7th to 9th.